Penny Lane began as Paul McCartney's attempt to preserve an ordinary piece of Liverpool before it disappeared into the past. It was the name used for a busy bus terminus where Paul, John Lennon, and George Harrison regularly changed buses on their way to school, to their friends' homes, and to central Liverpool.
Penny Lane, there is a barber showing photographs.
McCartney wrote much of the song in the music room of his London home on Cavendish Avenue, using an upright piano that artist David Vaughan had recently painted in psychedelic rainbow patterns. John later helped complete the third verse, turning their still recent childhood memories into something that felt older and more dreamlike than they really were. The song was based on a real neighborhood, but it was never meant to be a documentary of one particular afternoon. Violetti's barbershop was real, although McCartney transformed its ordinary haircut photographs into pictures of every customer the barber had supposedly known. The bank on the corner also existed. Even the fire station was borrowed from roughly half a mile away because McCartney needed another character for the next verse. He and Lennon also slipped a crude piece of Liverpool sexual slang into the otherwise innocent scene, mentioning the four of fish and finger pie, a private joke that most listeners outside the city never noticed. Penny Lane is therefore part memory and part fiction. It's a collection of genuine landmarks populated by imaginary versions of the people who might have passed through them. The recording began at EMI Studios on December 29, 1966, when the song was still marked simply as Untitled. McCartney first recorded 6 takes of the basic piano part, then began stacking different keyboards on top of one another. One piano was sent through a Vox guitar amplifier with a slow tremolo effect. Another was EMI's bright, slightly battered Mrs. Mills honky-tonk piano, and high harmonium notes were also run through a guitar amplifier. The cheerful, uncluttered sound was actually assembled from a dense pile of keyboard performances, followed by bass, drums, guitars, percussion, flutes, oboes, trumpets, and other orchestral parts recorded across several sessions. The final breakthrough came from something McCartney happened to see on television. He watched classical trumpeter David Mason performing Bach's Second Brandenburg Concerto with the English Chamber Orchestra and decided that Mason's tiny, piercing piccolo trumpet was the missing sound. Mason was called to Abbey Road, and he arrived carrying 9 trumpets, and then he worked through the melody as McCartney sang his ideas and George Martin wrote them down. The part reached unusually high notes because Paul, unable to read or properly arrange trumpet music himself, had imagined a line without knowing how difficult it would be. Mason played it anyway, without the tape being sped up, and then received the standard session payment of £27 and 10 shillings for one of the most recognizable performances on any Beatles record. Mason originally added a 7-note trumpet flourish after the song's final chord, and that version was sent to Capitol Records and pressed onto American promotional singles before the Beatles prepared another mix with the ending removed. Commercial copies used the revised version, leaving the earlier radio discs as an unusual Beatles collectible. Penny Lane had been recorded for the Beatles' next album before that project had fully become Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, but it was pulled away and released with Strawberry Fields Forever as a double A-sided single in February of 1967. The result is one of the strange accidents of the Beatles' catalog, a song built during the creation of Sgt. Pepper and central to the world surrounding it that never appeared on the original album.